Listen, child, we not gonna be long, okay? But we're gonna to get into this story of Bishop Whitehead on Larry Reid Live yesterday. I'm gonna show you guys and talk to you guys about what happened. I'm also gonna put a link to the video in the description box so you guys can see exactly all the hot tea and exactly what happened. But child, it was hot, hot, hot tea. And we're going to talk about it this morning. Also, I've got a little bit of Secktah news I want to talk about in regards to a video that I watched yesterday. But I definitely want to get into that today. It was crazy yesterday in these YouTube streets. I'm going to go ahead and play a quick 5-minute timer so we can get right into the show. All right, sorry guys. I was on a call just now. I hope you guys are doing absolutely excellent. I am doing great, great, great this morning. Shout out to all my loungers, everybody that's in the clouds, and also those who will catch the replay, and also everybody who is in the chat room. Peace to Breaking the Culture of Silence. I truly appreciate you, sis. Also, the beautiful Bernice. Shout out to you for being in the building. Dr. Nikki Proctor Walden, one of my favorite loungers, one of my sisters. I truly, truly appreciate you, sis, being here today. Also, Carla Martin, I appreciate you as being in the building as well as Pixie Longjot. I appreciate you also for being in the building. Shout out to you. Honey, that tea that came through yesterday in these YouTube streets was absolutely nuts, okay? Everything from Bishop Whitehead and Larry Reid to even down to our own sector, okay? I've had all types of hot tea that started to feel like Hennessy after a while, okay? That's how hot it was. But we are going to get into some of this stuff today. And also, I wanted to get into a comment from a viewer. Shout out to Carrie Ann. I did get a comment from her yesterday, and I wanted to touch bases with that comment and just acknowledge it and also talk about it because what she said, I understood what she was saying, and then I gave her a response. And, I think we should definitely discuss that. So I'm going to get right into that real quick. Let me pull up the comment. And again, this is no shade to her or anything like that. So for those of you that are looking for shade, you're not going to get that. But yeah, I definitely wanted to hear it because yesterday I did a video called Secktah News, Who Started This Ish? And then I talked about Marvin Gaye and a documentary that I'm going to be doing on him. But she let me know that she was catching a replay. And then she said, I can't understand who said I deleted their comments. Well, that was the beautiful Bernice, Carrie. She said that there was a video that you had done where you had actually deleted her comments and then turned around and deleted the video. And then you said, I didn't put words in anyone's mouth. I gave her the definition, and she still said slavery was our karmic debt. Words mean what they mean. Saying the word cycle over and over again doesn't change that karmic debt is the result of misdeeds. Karma means that misfortune in this life is the result of transgressions in the past. Karma is personal. It means what it means. Well, I came back with a message to her. And I said, karma is not always personal and certainly not always negative. So I respectfully disagree. This, however, is a prime example of how a word can be interpreted by someone, even if the other party does not intend for it to be interpreted that way. Thanks for watching. And I thought that was a really good point to bring up because over the past week or two, the entire sector has been tumbling back and forth in this dryer, it feels like, this forever ending dryer of this word karmic, the word debt, cycles, generations, and all these other things. Generational cycles, generational curses. All these words have been, and word salad have been tossed in the pot for us to eat. And everybody's just been kind of going back and forth over that. And what I think is this. I think people have the right to interpret things the way that they choose. But nobody has to absolutely agree with whatever you're saying just because you said it. And even if you have some type of major in that subject, okay? Nobody has to just totally agree with whatever you said and whatever your interpretation is just because that's your interpretation. It's also difficult for me to take an interpretation of a subject from someone who doesn't even believe in the subject. You understand? So, and I've said that to you before, but I'm going to leave it at that. I just feel like I needed you to see that, yes, people interpret things in different ways. But I know for a fact that karma is not always, it's transgression. You're facing transgressions that you've experienced in life. That's not what karma always is. It has a part in it, but it's not the entire just meaning. And so with me giving you a different light on that meaning based off of my interpretation of the word, now you can see that there are two dialogues here. There's you and what you feel, and then there's me and what I feel. And in that, we can have a common ground. You understand what I'm saying? Or we can agree to disagree. And it doesn't have to continue, go on, move forward, go through a bunch of stuff. And I think she caught on to that too, because literally she didn't go back, and we didn't go back and forth and continue on and go back and forth. Because yes, people can have differences of opinion and just move on. And shout out to her. I just wanted to make that clear because, there's a lot of that going on in the sector where people really feel like, talking about something or having an opinion about something somehow, means, or if you have a difference of opinion, that somehow means that you're in, some type of battle with that person. And it's not always the case. And I wanted to make that clear and just kind of talk about that. But yeah, shout out to you guys for your comments. Hey, Mikey, I appreciate you being in the building. You said good morning. I understand now. Thank you, everybody, for the birthday wish. To do is my little brother. Today is my little brother's birthday. Yes, shout out to your little brother. Happy birthday to your brother and to you. Dr. Nikki, you says it's Black Lives Divine, aka Black Lives Entertainment. And the time is right with T Pre. Shout out to our very own Propane Oak Lane who actually remade my intro. Shout out to him. I really appreciate that. You said, if you're looking for shade, put your sunglasses down. Okay. And you said, Mikey, what's your Cash App, boo? Mikey, make sure you drop your Cash App. Okay, I see it. And beautiful Bernice, you said words and their meanings change through the years, like bad can mean good. Exactly. Like people be like, that's a bad bitch. You know what I'm saying? When really they're saying something positive. You know what I mean? So like it's hanging on to the English language and hanging on to every single word and every word you said. No, that's not the way. But yeah, this is Mikey's Cash App, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that up. That way you guys can see that too. So let me go ahead and do that while I talk about Bishop Whitehead. Okay, listen. Now we have, and shout out to Breaking the Culture because her and I are going to be talking extensively about this on the podcast. Okay, so make sure that you guys are subscribed to A Shout Into the Void. We will be over there dropping a video dropping a show or two this week. We've got a couple interviews coming up. We've got a few things happening, and we are definitely going to get into the actual meat of this story on the podcast. But let's get into a little bit of what we witnessed yesterday, okay, with this bishop. Now, for those of you who don't know, Bishop Whitehead, Larryreidlive had an actual show yesterday, and he was on his Instagram. And he was talking briefly about this situation that happened with Bishop Whitehead. So for those of you that don't know, this is Bishop Whitehead. Welcome to his church, okay? He had a sermon the other day in Brooklyn, and unfortunately, he was robbed at gunpoint on camera during the sermon while the church was packed, okay? So there's a lot of questions that I and Breakin have surrounding this story, and we're going to get into that on the podcast. But ultimately speaking, Larry Reid went live yesterday and talked about this, okay, with his friend. It was a lady named Princess or something of that nature. And I'm going to put a link to Larryreidlive's video in my description box. I didn't want to play the video because there's a couple people playing it. There's a lot of hot tea going on around it. I know Steph Collins, you were in AT2 last night. I know you got to see it last night on there. And then there was some other people talking about it. Conscious TV is going to be doing an extensive video on it today. But the reason I didn't want to go deep into it is because, again, I'm going to be talking about this much more on the podcast. Okay. But, baby, this Bishop Whitehead, okay, after Larry, now, mind you, Larry is a very funny guy. He was on the video and they were talking about the situation. Okay. They were not joking about the baby, having a gun allegedly placed in its face. They were not laughing about the robbery itself, but they were definitely kind of joking a little about how Bishop Whitehead laid on the ground, and that kind of thing. Larry actually laid on the ground in front of everybody, which I thought was hilarious. Okay. Shout out to Larry Reid. But listen, Bishop Whitehead comes into the show probably, I would say, maybe 20 minutes into the show, maybe 20, 25 minutes or so into the show. He comes in to the live and he went ape shit on Larry Reid and on that lady. Okay. Literally ape shit. He talked about how they were joking his kid, they were joking his wife. How could they laugh about this? He kept calling the woman, you fat blimp bitch. He didn't call her a bitch, but he was calling her a fat blimp over and over and over and over again. He went in on this lady, okay? Then went in on Larry, accused him of some sexual stuff, not between the two of them, but just accused him of some fuck shit, basically. Okay. And Larry, of course, has been very open about his past. If you've followed Larry Reid, you would understand that Larry has been very open about things that have happened, things that have occurred, things in his past. And so even if something was or not is true or whatever, who gives this man the right to come on his panel? And because they were trying to make as much light of a terrible situation as they could, this man decides to attack his sexuality, allegedly attack, his character, attack this woman's character, and then attack her appearance. This is a pastor we talking about, okay? Which kind of leads me to what I felt about the church. I remember dealing with the church years and years ago. And I began to have a problem with the church because there was so many judgmental people within the church, within those walls, it just seems to be that, they say come as you are, but if you come as you are, you got a million people talking about you behind the scenes, you know, and for various reasons. The church folks, to me, have always been some of the most judgmental people I have ever seen and ever talked to. I'm not saying that everybody who goes to church or everybody that's on the church scene is like this, but it wasn't terribly surprising to me that this man would carry himself like that. Now, he is a human being. Yes, I get it. He's still emotionally charged from the robbery allegedly and so forth. Again, I have several questions behind that whole quote unquote robbery, okay? Which I will talk about again, like I said in the podcast. But it, I could see him being emotionally charged over such a situation if this was, actually the case, and his child and wife and so forth were involved too. But I don't think it called for him to react the way he did. You know, I don't think it called for all the emotion like he had it. I don't think it called for the disrespect of this black woman like he did, and even of Larry like he did. You know, I guarantee that if that camera that was turned to him on the day of the service that he got quote unquote robbed, I guarantee if you pan that camera around to the church members, there's probably a lot and probably mostly black women in that church, mostly heavy set black women in that church. You understand me? Or just plump sized black women in that church. This is the kind of mentality and the kind of mindset that a lot of these pastors have. Okay. They'll sit and they'll say one thing about you, all in your face, smiling, and oh God, God, this and everything else. But when they get behind closed doors and they not in that church and they not on that pulpit, this is how they talk about you. This is the stuff that they say. It just goes to show even more that a pastor is only a person. Even if, you agree with their message, to be careful about putting people of such nature on high, in such high regard, and on pedestals, and believing in, them in a level where higher than you believe in your higher being, or whatever the case may be, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in yourself as the higher power, whatever. But clearly, this is a prime example of not putting your trust in man. You understand what I'm saying? Or putting your trust in the belief that another person can lead you to God or lead you to the universe or whatever. He's just like anybody else. You know what I mean? He will cuss you out, talk shit, do whatever he does like anybody else. And I thought that was such an interesting and important part of that programming that I wanted to share, because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, I could, but at the same time, I was like, wow, this is pretty shocking. That this guy actually thought it was okay to come and talk to folks like that. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. And again, like I said, make sure that you guys check out A Shout Into the Void, because we are going to get deep and go deep, have a deep dive into that conversation. Beautiful Bernice was laughing. Good morning, Grand Rising TMK. I appreciate you being in the building. You said T Pring and Chat Heads. Appreciate you. She said Grand Rising to you. Hey Naps, I appreciate you. You said he almost got popped like a whitehead, but yes. Okay, we're gonna talk about that quote unquote inside job situation. I'm telling you, we are definitely gonna talk about that for sure. You said, wow, girl, I'm just saying. You said Naps, hey. You said salute Sister Carla Martin. Carla said, that so-called bishop was out of pocket, fat shaming Genesis and throwing around homophobic slurs. Damn shame. Exactly. Okay, so her name was Genesis. I thought it was Princess. Okay, yes, fat shaming her. I mean, he did it repeatedly. It wasn't just like, oh, he said you fat B or you fat this or nothing. He went in like he was going off on this woman. He said it multiple times. Then he talked about Larry. He talked about this throwing out these homophobic slurs, and it was just crazy. Like his own, like, I don't know, this man needs to have a publicist or something, because like you're clearly you are a very well-known pastor. You know, people know you. They you travel, and so forth. Um, so again, like I said, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of heavyset black women in his church, and there's probably a lot of there's probably some people who are gay in the church as well. Okay. So for him to be carrying on like that in the public eye really speaks volumes about his personality. I mean, that's what I felt, and that's what I got. And I thought that was crazy. Mikey said, I'm back. I was just brushing my teeth. Okay, Mikey. You said, yeah, mm-hmm. You said, reminds me of a certain Rev. Okay? Facts. Facts, facts, facts. Hey, keeping it plain. I appreciate you being in the building. You said, hello, T Pre and Chad. Dr. Nikki says, hey to TMK and keeping it plain. TMK says, hey to Dr. Nikki Proctor. Breaking the culture. You said SMH. He's a con man, though. He changed how much was stolen. Went from 400,000 to 1 million. Get the fuck out of here, girl. We are definitely going to get into this conversation, because this shit is wild, bitch. Wild. You said you got my Cash App. Yes, we got it. I did put it up, and I left it up on the page for a while. Okay, guys. So I am actually going to get into a brief sector story, and then I'm going to end the show. So yesterday I went and did I was sent some information in regards to a video that Alan Logic did. And shout out to Alan Logic. He is actually one of my favorite content creators. I know that you guys, some people don't like him. He seems has been controversial. He has said a lot of different things. But I actually like Alan Logic. I think a lot of things that he says makes a lot of sense. It may not be, it may come off a certain way, but he definitely, to me, comes off with a lot of sense. Okay. And so he did a video about, I would say, 6 days ago now. And I didn't even catch the video at first. Um, but I did catch it last night. And child, this video was interesting as hell. I'm going to go ahead and put a link to the video in my description box so you guys can get over there if you have not seen it. Okay. But he talked about anti-Afro Svengali and he dropped several receipts on this video. Okay. And I really think it's important for people to kind of see this video and to just see how this lady moves in these streets. Okay. Because there was a lot of things that I had uncovered a long time ago about anti-Afro Svengali. I talked about this. I would say about a year and a half ago. I remember Shakim Ra had done a video. This is when me and him was still tight. He had done a video, and I was on there. Pillsbury was on there. A couple people, and Pillsbury had given me. Ultimately, I think you guys remember, Pillsbury had sent me a multitude of emails that anti-Afro had been sending out. Okay. At that time, it's kind of when the AFWs kind of fell apart because they thought that anti had allowed all of their emails to be leaked. Some of them were leaked, but some of them were not. Okay. But people were coming out the woodwork just talking because, literally they didn't want to be caught with their pants down fooling with her. So I remember in those emails, which eventually I will do another documentary on. But I remember within those emails, there was a lot that I had uncovered and learned about anti-Afro that I didn't know prior. One of them was that she has multiple troll accounts. Okay. And the other one was that she tries to get people to bid for her. So she will send certain people out to do certain things against other content creators in the sector. Okay. And if they don't do her bidding, she attacks them. Okay. This has happened with multiple people in the sector. It's not just Alan. It's not just, there's a couple of people. I remember Humble King had went through something very similar with her. Let Me See Your Transcript is a major example of this. And there's other people who have been through this stuff too with anti-Afro. But Alan definitely brought up an excellent point in the video, which I thought was crazy. Okay. And like I said, I really want everybody to go and take a look at this video. If you don't want to listen to Alan, if you don't like him, I actually like Alan. But if you don't want to listen to the full video, which by the way, Alan, I did listen to the full video. But if you don't want to listen to the full video, go to the 1 hour and 10-minute mark and just listen from there to about the 1 hour and 32-minute mark. Or no, I'm sorry, 1 hour and 34-minute mark. Okay. Just go from there and just listen and watch the receipts that he dropped. Okay. Anti-Afro should be ashamed of herself, being as old as she is and still trying to get grown people to do her dirty work. And when they don't do her dirty work, she turns on you. She has a problem with it. But she does it in such a subtle, manipulative way that you would never think that she's even being manipulative. You would think that she's just, being anti-Afro. But I really want y'all to see the manipulation that she tried. When she tried to talk like she was talking to somebody else. When she tried to make it appear as if she was texting someone else and talking about Alan. Okay? Like, What did she really? I have a couple of questions about that. Like, did she really think she was talking to Alan and she was just trying to be manipulative with Alan, like she said? Like she said she was doing? Oh, I'm just playing games with you. I'm just trying to get your attention. Or did she really think she was talking to somebody else? And then she ended up trying to clean it up by saying, oh, I was just trying to get your attention. It's definitely something to ponder because AAS always has a reason for why she's fucking with you. If she's cool with you, trust and believe there is a particular reason why. I'm not going to be one to try and manipulate anybody into how they feel or how they choose to take AAS. But what I will say is for anybody who chooses to dance with the devil, the caution is already there. And it's up to you to take that or not. Because multiple people have experienced this kind of stuff with this lady. This is not anything new with her. For her to be manipulative, for her to attempt to use your words against you, for her to attempt to use information against you. But just be very, very careful with how you dance with this woman. Because, again, she has a reason for everything. It may not be out there and open to the public for everybody to see. It may not even be, it may be very subtle, you know, something that's super hidden. But you got to read between the lines with a person like that. You got to read between the lines because she has nothing but treachery in her heart. Evil exists with that woman. And I don't want to see anybody else experience any more pain or any more hurt from her. Anybody. She has done everything from contacting the IRS, the FBI, CPS, and multiple other agencies. Just because she doesn't either like you or because she doesn't like somebody you like or she doesn't like somebody you hang around. That's the kind of stuff this therapist does. So I just wanted to put that out there. And, you can't tell people what to do. You can't, have people, just manipulating people and making people do what you want them to do. But if you see something, you should say something, you know? And I saw it. I've taken 100% note. And this is where I'm at. Be careful who you get in bed with. And I'm going to leave it at that. Breaking, you said his church in the hood too. So how he have that type of girl, we're going to get into that. We are definitely going to get into that. You guys make sure that you hit the link for Alan Logic or what you're going to do about it. Make sure that you guys hit that link. Thank you, Dr. Nikki, for putting that link in the chat. You said, yep, so true. Exactly, yep. You said the timestamps are 1 hour and 10 minutes and 1 hour to 30 minutes. About 1 hour and 33 or so. But yeah, definitely take a look at that video, guys, because that video is damning and it is very interesting. You said so very true, T-Pre. Yep. Just because she can. Exactly. You said she's a user and an evil abuser. Yes, she is. And beautiful Bernice, I would love to do an interview with you. I'm going to reach out to you because I'd like to do an interview with you so that we can discuss some of that using and abusing, because I know that at one time you were cool with Anti and she turned on you. And she, tried to lie and manipulate the people into believing that you were the one behind a lot of the stuff that she was behind. And so I would love to do an interview with you. I'll set that up. I will speak with you behind the scenes so that we can set up that interview. But I think that would be a very good conversation. You said, don't forget about just because you don't care for Dusty Reggie. Facts. Yep. Yep. She still is. She definitely is. And people better take heed. You said, I can't believe it. I just turned 40 and I cannot believe it's my little brother's birthday. Yes, 37. I just love being humble and I'm looking at life different. That's what's up, Mikey. Congratulations, you know. And I know that feels great to you, especially living in the city and stuff. You know, turning 40 is a big deal. And being a black man and turning 40 is an even bigger, big deal. So shout out to you, Mikey. I really appreciate you for always coming and supporting. And, you know, definitely shout out to you for being in the 40/40 club, baby. Yes. You said, Dr. Nikki says, I've been hot or cold with this bitch and she came for me. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And the same was with me. There was a time when I didn't necessarily agree with anti-Afro, but I definitely watched her videos. I definitely was nice to her, friendly and so forth. And then she turned when I wasn't doing that Umar ish, you know, she turned. And that's the stuff that she does. You said, so a bunch of BK dudes came to rob just one person and not the whole church. Brooklyn slipping. Oh, come. Insurance scam. Okay. You said, I have not. Right. I understood what you said. Woo. What's up, Pillsbury? I appreciate you being in the building. Dr. Nikki says, hey to Naps. Listen, guys, we've been on here for about 40 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and end the show. I really appreciate all of you for coming in. Those of you who are in the clouds and all of you who will catch the replay as well. I truly appreciate you guys. But again, like I said, anybody who is in bed with this chick, please be careful. Please do your research and make sure that you check out the video from Alan Logic. And I would love for folks in the sector to start comparing notes on that because I'm pretty sure there's some other people somewhere. I don't know where, but I'm pretty sure there are some other people who have experienced exactly what Alan experienced with anti as well. And I would love to hear about it. All right, guys, listen, I am going to get out of here. I, again, appreciate you guys for being in the building. Let me go ahead and read the last two comments I see. You said, Pillsbury, woo. You said, and I thank you for my older brother for taking it off my hands because real talk, I could have been a different person. I could have been dead or in jail, or I could have caught a body. Yes, that's very true, Mikey, especially where you're from and where you live at. You said, hey, Dr. Nikki. You said, hey, Nikki and Bernice. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I really appreciate you guys again, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace, guys.